I'm Dr. Joe Jabre. I'm a neurologist and I specialize in EMG. TeleEMG started with a very simple idea. I train residents, I show them how to do EMG and nerve conductions, and one day, one of my residents said, Dr. Jabre, why do you keep on giving us all these Xerox copies and articles and so forth and so on, and you have to reprint things every time something new comes up? Why don't you put it on the web? I said, wow, that's an incredible idea. Very original. And it really was original because this was 1997. The web was probably 3 or 4 years old. So I sat down, started writing HTML 1.0, the original version, and started putting a lot of articles, reviews. I scanned some of the pictures and waveforms and so forth and so on from a book I had written in 1983 and started putting pictures of nerves and muscles and so forth and so on. The idea was to give an educational spot for my residents to go and my students and look for these things. Well, guess what? At the beginning, I had 5 or 6 people that were coming and logging into the web page at a time. Then all of a sudden grew to 20 unique visitors a day, 40, 50, 100 unique visitors a day. Well, I didn't have that many residents. And at that time, people were sending me emails saying, well, where can we get educational material? Something like for nerve conduction studies or needle exam and so forth and so on. And luckily at that time, I ran into one of the equipment manufacturers who actually had DVDs that showed EMG and nerve conductions. And he said, why don't you try to market them on your website? I said, great idea. Didn't think I was going to make any money, but I figured, I'd give it a try. Because all of that I was supporting from my own money. I wasn't making any money on the website. So I tried that, and it started selling. And more people started buying these things. Then slowly these same people who were buying DVDs were saying, what about needle electrodes? What about surface electrodes? So I approached another manufacturer, and that's how we got into putting these things on the web to deliver EMG, nerve conductions, needles, surface, and supplies, as well as DVD materials. Then we started getting a lot of questions from patients on the website. And I became quickly very intrigued, like why patients are logging into the web page. So I decided to do a survey. These are some of these small things, screens that pop up and say, tell us who you are, not your name. Are you an MD? Are you a student? Are you a patient? Are you a healthcare professional? And so forth and so on. Well, it turned out 50% who were coming to the web page were patients, asking a lot of things about problems that they were having or tests that they had. So immediately we started a forum in which this was the predecessor to blogs, essentially, in which patients would ask questions and physicians would answer. And quickly that built to roughly 5,000 frequently asked questions, which we still show on our website. So now we have a website that shows educational material, that markets DVD, nerve conduction EMGs, that markets electrodes, surface and needle electrodes, and so forth and so on. Then we started also getting a lot of questions about practice setups. We had what we want to call a subspecialty, namely primary care physicians, physicians who had needs to test things like carpal tunnel, like diabetic neuropathy, like ulnar neuropathy at the elbow. And they were saying, can I be trained to do this? Can I actually do these? And still refer the complicated patients to the specialist. So that's how we got into the training courses. We started doing training courses in which, for 2 days, usually on a weekend, we showed people how to do nerve conduction and introduction also to needle exam so that they understand it better. So TeleEMG evolved from this very simple concept in which we started putting educational material for residents and students, evolved into frequently asked questions for patients, evolved into DVDs, evolved into supplies, and so forth and so on. And finally into courses and practice setups. Basically what we do, we go to a practice, we train them, we show them how to do the test, and we set them up with the EMG machines that actually addresses their practice needs and the type of test that they're going to do. So I want to welcome you for visiting the site. All of the things on the site, educational material-wise, are free. You can see a book, you can see anatomical charts of nerves and muscles and so on and so forth. You can see normal values. So go over the site, send us some emails, questions, suggestions, so forth and so on, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you very much.